Travelodge says it's looking at how it can make further changes to protect customers after a woman was sexually assaulted by a man who was given a key card to her room by a member of staff. The firm's boss, Joe Boydell, insisted guests were safe in its hotels, but the victim, who can't be named to protect her anonymity, says it didn't act fast enough. Our reporter Graham Satchell has more.
It was a horrifying attack. In December 2022, a woman was sexually assaulted at this Travelodge in Maidenhead. A man, claiming to be her boyfriend, had been given a key card to her room by hotel staff. After weeks of pressure, Travelodge boss Joe Boydell has now given her first interview. She admitted serious mistakes have been made.
I'm genuinely sorry to the survivor for the way that was handled. We have made changes to our policy to reflect that, absolutely.
But how would you feel, Joe, if that happened to you?
I would be horrified in the way that I am horrified that it actually happened in one of our hotels. And as I say, I deeply apologise for that. And we've made changes to make sure that won't happen again.
The attacker, Kyran Smith, was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison last month. Travelodge offered the victim £30 in compensation, which she described as insulting.
I can completely understand why she'd feel like that, and I really genuinely apologise for making matters worse and adding to her distress. I'm committed to working with Matt and the MPs on it.
We showed our interview with Joe Boydell to the woman who was assaulted. She can't be identified for legal reasons.
If you're really that worried about safeguarding and protecting people and making sure your guests are safe, then why are you not attending, these kind of meetings with MPs? Why are you now coming out and saying these things?
The woman is now taking legal action against Travelodge.
I'm not here to say to someone, you shouldn't be in your job or anything like that. I don't want to do that. But my personal opinion is, if you are in that position, like a CEO of a company, then you do have a responsibility to act on the situation.
Will she get compensation?
We haven't had that discussion with her, but as I've said to her, I'm very open to understanding kind of what would help to make it right from her perspective.
Travelodge initially defended their staff, saying they'd followed the correct security procedures. But now they've changed their policy. Key cards will only be issued once the person in the room has been contacted.
This incident happened in 2022, when you were in charge.
Yes.
Why has it taken until now, 2026, to make the change?
The first time I became aware of this was after the court reported the incident, which is completely unacceptable, and it also shows that there are issues with the way we handled the case. We're very clear about that. We've made some changes immediately in terms of how we handle serious incidents. I would have expected it to be escalated. It wasn't, so something went wrong.
So you didn't know about it?
No.
Travelodge say customers are safe in its hotels and is undertaking an independent review to see if more changes are needed. But there's no escaping that this incident and the way it's been handled has caused significant reputational damage to Travelodge. Graham Satchell, BBC News.
And joining us now is Matt Bishop, MP for Forest of Dean, who is one of the MPs who wrote to the Chief Executive of Travelodge demanding a meeting. Thank you very much for joining us. And I know that you and colleagues asked Joe Boydell to make sure that any internal review is also including a barrister and an organisation that deals with issues around violence against women and girls. Have they agreed to that?
Good afternoon, Anita. Thank you for having me. Yes, Joe Boydell did agree and said that she would go away with any recommendations and seek a suitable person with relevant qualifications to do that job. So yes, she has agreed to that.
Did you gain any further understanding in that conversation about why it has taken so long, as we just heard in Graham's report, from the time when this assault happened to basically now, and everyone finding out about this?
Absolutely. No, we didn't gain anything further in the meeting with Joe about why it took so long. But as your reporter said, it's almost 4 years, and it's taken a criminal court case. It's taken the BBC to break the report in the first place. It's taken the parliamentarians that wrote and signed the letter that went to Joe, and it's even taken the Prime Minister to get involved before we get any further forward. So disappointed, really disappointed with that response.
What sort of framework are you looking to see going forward then in terms of how Travelodge responds to this?
Well, what we're looking to do is it's important to note, Anita, that this isn't just a Travelodge issue. It's actually much wider than this. It seems to be a sector problem with all hotel chains.
OK, that's really interesting, because I did want to ask you if you were finding that this was a wider industry issue, in fact.
It definitely is, and that's why what we're pushing for is changing to whether that's statutory legislation, whether it's guidance and statutory guidance, but we need something in place that says that hotels won't give key cards or keys or whatever methods they use to open their doors to anybody other than those named on a booking with identification.
I mean, when you say it like that, it just seems confounding, doesn't it, that that could happen? It does seem like such a common sense thing not to give a key card to someone whose name isn't on the hotel room booking.
Absolutely. To me and my colleagues and everyone I speak to about this, and many victims and survivors have come forward now, we all say the same thing. It's common sense. It's not difficult. It's not costly. You just don't give the key to anybody that's not named on the booking unless the lead booker's there to give permission to do so. OK, so just give us a quick idea then of next steps and how long you expect it to be before you hear back from any review that's taken by Travelodge. Well, on a personal step, we've my office and I have applied for a 10-minute rule bill in Parliament, so that's where we try to get this legislation or guidance on government books. So that's been accepted. We'll go through with that later on in the year, and then as soon as we get any update from Jo and her team at the Travelodge, we'll meet up again, I'm sure, or at least try to meet up with Jo and her team to see what comes out of that investigation.